So here we are in the Indigo Room playing Fantasy Trip Melee and specifically the scenario death test. We've gotten into the Indigo Room and there are two orcs. And so the scenario gives us these two X's to indicate the orcs. It's the standard kind of battle map of Melee, but with these obstacles in the way. So I have roughly translated this into this with the trees here representing the obstacles. We have the skulls as the two orcs. I have written down what it says is that you should consult a list of fighters, and you can roll randomly on that list, which is what I did to determine the statistics of these orcs. Orc number one has no armor, which may not be the wisest thing, and has a javelin, which is a pole weapon, which can also be thrown. Although that gets tricky because if you throw your pole weapon and you still need to fight, you then either need to pull out another weapon or retrieve your javelin. And he has a small shield, and then the other orc has chainmail, which will absorb 3 hits per attack, and has a hammer, which he can hit with and which he can throw, and also a horse bow. And what the rules say then is, there are two orcs and they attack. Roll for initiative. So here's the way this works: is I'm going to bring up my dice roller here. I'm going to roll for them first. They get a 3. You want to roll high for the initiative roll, and we roll a 1, so they get initiative. What this means is they can decide whether they would like to move first or whether they wish to have us move first. And the rules are like, okay, that they're going to fight to the death. I think that they would both be looking, seeing that they're outnumbered, would I don't think the one is going to be interested in throwing the javelin and then having no weapon at its disposal. So I think what they would opt for here is, seeing that they're outnumbered, I think this would make sense. Let's say that they will opt to move first, and they're going to do so to make sure that they are in a good defensible position. So this orc, I might be giving them more credit, but this orc is going to move and shift this way, and this orc is going to move this way. Okay, and then it's our turn. Everybody has up to an 8 movement, and so they can move up to 8, or they can move half that distance and attack. So this being said, I think we'll start here with Vivavain, who has the halberd. Vivavain is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I don't think there are going to be any attacks this round, just because we have to kind of get ourselves into a spot where we can attack. Gorith is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and Brunhilde will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, kind of looking to maybe run around and get behind the 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 orc. And then Slykin, kind of interesting tactical position here. So Slykin is going to go. Slykin can move 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Um, and no, I think he will go here. And Slykin has the bow. And so, what I'm trying to set up here is a situation where when the orcs move in, Slykin will be set up for a shot on the orcs. And there's not going to be any. There's not going to be any combat this round. We're all just kind of getting ourselves positioned, but I think that's about to change. So we'll go to the next round. We'll roll initiative again. They rolled a 2. We rolled a 3. So we get to make the decision as to who moves first. And I think we want them to move first. And so, given what the rules tell us, they want to attack. They're going to fight to the death. This orc is going to move in here. All right. And now it's our turn. I think Slykin is perfectly content to stay here. Gorth is content to stay here. Vivavain is content to stay here. And Brunhilde can move half and attack. So Brunhilde is declaring, I'm going to charge and attack. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's half the movement rate. And Brunhilde can shift the direction as she's moving around. And so she's going to be immediately behind this orc, which this is going to be, I think, pretty bad for the orcs. This one is going to get hit by arrows. It's going to get a back attack, has Gorth in the front. And this orc has moved into Vivavain, and Vivavain is the one who has a pole weapon. There's a curious rule about, a number of curious rules about pole weapons. One of which is that if somebody with a pole weapon readied is moved into, they get a +2 dexterity modifier. I'm going to double check on that rule. I think it's +2, and that attack goes first. So with pole weapons, it's a kind of curious thing. It says that with these types of situations, on any turn when a pole weapon is being used in a charge attack or against a charge attack or both, roll all pole weapon results first in order of adjusted dexterity. So Vivavain and Orc 2, we are going to go with their attacks first. So we'll start with Vivavain with this halberd, and Vivavain is going to need a 14 or less, and that looks pretty good for Vivavain, and that attack actually goes before Orc 2's attack, even though they both have pole weapons, but Vivavain's dexterity is higher. So this pole weapon does, and I'm going to just double check my cheat sheet here, 2 dice of damage. So 9 damage to Orc 2. Actually, Orc 2 did not have the pole weapon itself, but it's going to be irrelevant. So Orc 2 actually that turn will go later, but has chainmail, so it absorbs 3 points of those 9, but that means that it loses 6 points, so it's down to 4. And since there's a rule that if you lose more than 5 hit points, sustain 5 or more damage, which it has done, your next, you have a -2 dexterity on your next attack. So I'm going to make a note of that when we get back to Orc 2. Um, all right. So back to other proceedings. So now we're going to go into the order. Orc 1 has a javelin, but it did not. Well, I guess the pole weapon will go first anyway. Whenever a pole weapon is being used in a charge attack or against a charge attack, right, those go first. So we will go on and roll Orc 1. As I say, the pole weapons are kind of curious because there's these kind of interesting rules that go into play. Orc 1 needs a 9. Does not have a high dexterity. You see that did not work for the orc. So now we're really set up to just go in the order of everybody else in terms of their order of adjusted dexterity. So Slykin is going to go first. It gets 2 attacks, but one of them has to go. Well, this will be irrelevant because the orc has already gone. Normally they say, okay, after everybody has had their first chance of attack, the bows that fire twice can go again. But I'm just going to go on and for efficiency, since the orc has already attacked, Slykin will roll. Slykin needs a 16 or less, has a very high dexterity. So there's 1 hit there and another hit there. And Slykin does 1 die of damage per shot that hits. So we'll go roll 2 6-sided. All right. So Orc 1, I have to look, has a small shield. And the small shield will work here. So it's facing this direction, meaning its front-facing hexes are this one, Gorith is right in front, and then also this tree. So the shield is going to come into play, and the shield will absorb 1 point of damage. So this goes down to a 5. This goes down to a 3. So it sustains 8 points of damage. And so it's going to actually that would at least give it a -2. But now it is very low on strength, and at this point, when you drop below, I believe it's 3 strength, you go to a -3 dex, a -3 dexterity. Okay, so next we are on to Brunhilde, and Brunhilde's here from the back, and I think that this orc may not be long for this world. So Brunhilde needs normally a 13 or less, but it has a back attack here, which is going to give it a +4. So now Brunhilde just needs a 17 or less, and that's a hit. And Brunhilde has a Morning Star. Yeah, this. Oh, I'm sorry. I just take the first 2. This other 2 down here was a 3rd by mistake, but 2d + 1, so 8, 9. Orc number 1, who has no armor, is going to have to absorb all of that damage because the shield doesn't come into play, and so Orc 1 is dead. And it's not really going to be a matter. I think that the game intentionally sets this encounter up to be fairly easy. Orc 1 would die, and you would typically kind of mark the body. Like you could, take another Post-it note if you wished and mark the body, because this becomes an obstacle on the battlefield then. But as I say, I don't know that in this case it's going to be all that important to take that into account. All right, so how are we going to do this now? Well, it may come into play actually. So we are now. Let's see. This orc number 2 did sustain damage, and you can, if you do damage to your opponent and you do not yourself sustain damage, you can force that opponent to retreat. And I think that that's what Viva Vane will do. And so, kind of moving it back would be, I guess, one of these two. It can't move into one of the trees. So I think Viva Vane is going to require this orc. This orc will be required to move back one hex. It's going to put it in the line of sight of Slykin. And so at this point, we are going to roll for initiative. And let me get rid of these. This is the orcs initiative. This is our initiative. We win. I think we'll just go on and require the orc to move first. And the orc is, well, the orc, I guess, would see Brunhilde there and would turn to at least have Brunhilde in one of its facing hexes. But unfortunately, you'll see here now, we will move. And, oh, this is going to be nasty because it's now our move. And Brunhilde can shift one hex. So Brunhilde will take advantage of that and shift down here, which actually now puts it out of the way. I think that maybe if the orc was thinking, and I wasn't really thinking about this, but you can, kind of shift one hex, and if you're still engaged with the enemy, you can shift around. I'm going to double check this rule, but I think that this is correct. Because it's still, it's not completely disengaging from the enemy. Actually, I'm unsure about this. I'm going to just say, because that in some ways would be a disengaging move because you move into the back. So I will double check on that. We'll just say that needs to stay engaged. So we'll just stay there. Viva Vane is going to kind of charge in with its pole arm. Maybe not. Actually, I think, let's see how we're going to do this. I think Viva Vane, maybe we'll just stay here because with its pole arm, and I can just clarify things, make this okay. So my understanding is that the lines between hexes are not counted as actually going through those hexes. So Viva Vane can get a jab here. Slykin is set up. And I think Gorith, so we have this obstacle here. Gorith can kind of move on that obstacle, but then it kind of impedes things a bit. So I think Gorith is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gorith will not be able to get an attack this round. So I think though we're set up there, we need to remember that Gorith would be kind of facing this direction. Gorith not going to attack this round. Viva Vane has this shot across here, the jab. Okay, so now we're into our dexterity order of attack. So Slykin is going to go first, and this orc may be okay because it can sustain 3 points of damage per attack with that, and Slykin only gets to roll 1 die, but we'll see how it goes here. So 15, and Slykin is going to have a penalty because of the distance here. But this is going to work. because that's what Slykin needs. 15, so 1 is a hit. Okay, and this time we'll hold off on the other hit. Hopefully, remember that gets a second bow shot after everybody has attacked. That's a pretty good amount there. So 3, and this orc is not going to be long. It has one hit point left. Brunhilde is going to go next in order of dexterity. Rolls a 12, and Brunhilde just needs a 13. So I think this is going to be the crushing blow, because that Morning Star gets 2 die of damage plus 1 does 10, and so this orc is defeated. All right, so it would leave the battlefield. We are victorious. And let's see what this means. If we stay and kill the orcs, which we did, as I say, I think that this initial encounter is not set up to be particularly deadly. Even the first time I ran through this with my beginning adventurers at the lowest level, they were able to make handy work of these 2 orcs. This is kind of more of a warm up, I suppose. Feel sorry for the orcs. Maybe the Thors kind of comes in after we leave and lets them live, has some kind of way of healing them back up, because they really seem almost like cannon fodder for the way this is set up. But anyway, we find no treasure on the bodies or elsewhere. You can leave by the east door or the west door. East door would be back where we came from, and I don't think that we are interested in doing that. So I think we are going to go and head through the west door out of the Indigo Room, and that'll take us to 143. And I did have the idea that there would be a set of potions after an encounter room. If the party leaves, they could have access to potions upon kind of departing the room from another door. So I'm going to go on and do this, and I had kind of further thoughts about this, and I think that maybe I don't want to overpower this. But what I want to say is maybe we roll a 4-sided die. Say there are 1 to 4 potions, and each one can heal a d6 of damage. So they're going to be random rolls here. So first of all, our d4 comes up a 1, so we get 1 potion, and I'm going to have to keep track. And we'll hold off on like how much damage that's going to heal, and we'll wait until that potion is used. Okay, so. We have that, and all right, I need to kind of go back and okay, so we go to 143 is what it said. All right, so let's go down here to 143. You are facing west. You go west and come to a curtain. You can go through or turn around. And I think we will just proceed and go through. So that's going to take us to room 13. You are in the green room. Okay. A standard melee map without obstacles. Arrange your party on the entrance hexes. If you have any wizards, which we don't, we'd go to 25. Otherwise, we go to 53. So let me mark down this. I'm trying to keep records of the numbers that it's taking us through. So we're going to go to 53. You see 4 fighters standing in the 4 entrance hexes at the far end of the room. They shout threats as you enter. Go to the fighter table, roll for 4 fighters. You can attack, stand your ground, or turn and run out the door you came in. So with this one, I'm going to have to go and set that up. This one, just to let you know. So, we're basically going to be at a room that will be this dimension. It will not have any of the obstacles in here. We're going to have 4 fighters arrayed down on this side of the battle map. and we are going to have. Um, we will be coming in on this area over here, um, and right over here is where we'll be. We'll have 4 fighters here. Just to let you know, first time I did this did not turn out well. Second time I did this, Slykin got hit by some arrows. Actually, the first time I did this, one reason why it didn't turn out well is I stood my ground and they decided to attack anyway. So we lost like a full round just kind of sitting around, standing our ground, trying to be friendly. Second time, Slykin got hit a bit, and Slykin is the one who can sustain the least amount of damage. And we ran out of the room, tried to find an alternate path. That didn't work out. And then I said, okay, well, we have to battle these figures. What I found with melee is a 4-on-4 battle, or an equal battle against roughly equal opponents, which we were, gets very, very deadly. You tend to, even using some strategy, I worked out a couple different scenarios, and it ultimately came down to a war of attrition, and that is